Hey, Pajama Grandma, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. In case we haven't met yet, go ahead and put in the comments below, #pajama, so I know it's the first time you're hearing my voice or seeing my face. I wanted to hop on and have a little discussion this afternoon, I think it's afternoon, yep, about the I can't afford that. I can't afford this, it's too expensive, I can't afford that. How often do you catch yourself saying that? And maybe you don't, maybe you've gotten over that and you've overcome that hurdle. But one of the biggest objections I hear from people almost every day when I'm coaching and talking to them is some version of that's too expensive, I can't afford that. And then there's a whole bunch more that lead into that. I don't know how, I don't want to, I'm scared, I don't have time. But today I just want to talk about I can't afford that, because I want to take away people's excuse of saying that they can't afford anything, that they can't afford to take a coaching program, that they can't afford to take a course they want to take and that they know they need to take to move their business ahead. Whatever it is that you're saying you can't afford, I guarantee there's 100% way for you to afford whatever it is that you want. If you think about it and want it, there's a way to afford it. The first step is to stop saying, I can't afford that. I can't afford this. It's too expensive. I can't afford organic food. I can't afford to shop at the health food store. I can't afford to go on vacation. I can't afford to buy new jeans. I can't afford to buy a new car. Whatever it is, whatever excuse you're using or telling yourself, whatever you're telling yourself you can't afford, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel good when you say I can't afford something? Whenever I say I can't afford something, it gives me a stomach ache, because I think, well, number one, that's a lie. And because it gives me a stomach ache, I know that that's a lie for me. The better question to ask every single time that pops into your head, and what I do when it pops into my head, is I change that around as quickly as I possibly can to, instead of saying I can't afford that or I can't afford this, I switch my words around and I say, well, how can I afford that? How could I afford that? So maybe I don't have $10,000 in the bank right now, but if this is an awesome investment, if this is a great vehicle that I can get for $10,000, say I could get a Porsche for $10,000. Would I find the $10,000 to get that Porsche? Absolutely, I would. I'd find a way. If I want to invest in something for my business and it at first blush it sounds expensive, I have to ask myself different questions. How do I expect that investment to pay off? Do I have the confidence that I have the ability to get the result that the person presenting that offer is telling me that their program or their coaching or their course will provide? If I'm confident that they have the ability to teach me what I need to know and that I have the ability to do and take the steps that they're telling me I need to take, then I'll invest in that because I know that that's the right move for my business. So my first thing is always to ask myself, how can I afford that? And then my brain starts showing me different ways. And some of the different ways that it's shown me how to afford certain things in the past, I just want to run through a list of those to give you some ideas, because I guarantee you're more creative and more imaginative with how to afford things than I am. And sometimes you just have to be open to letting things fall into place, and ways that you can do something actually show up in ways that you could never have imagined, that you couldn't orchestrate. But there are things that you can do and you can orchestrate to make investments possible. For example, my ex-husband and I used to be involved in real estate investing, and we did some high-ticket real estate coaching programs. And, you know, our first thought was always, oh, we can't afford to do this. How can we afford to invest, you know, $25,000, $50,000, $6,000 a month in a coaching program? Well, because we knew that if we were going to spend and invest that kind of resources into a program, we were going to get at least that amount of value and money back out of that program, if not 3 to 5 to 10 times more. Our objective going into a program like that was always to go in with respect to the real estate program, enough real estate deals pre-aligned up or under contract to take in with us that we were guaranteed to cover the cost of that and the investment of that program. So for example, we joined a $50,000 a year coaching program. And the first meeting that we had, the first call that we had, we showed up to that with 3 real estate deals under contract, any one of which would have paid us back the investment into the program And it turns out that all three of them ended up, we closed all three of them and many, many more, at least another 7 to 10 more just in the first part of that coaching program. So a strategy that you can have is to have your ducks in a row, have increased business ideas or questions or things that you need to apply from whatever it is that you're thinking about investing in, and know in advance how you're going to get your return on your investment. We did a lot of that work in the real estate industry and in other industries. It applies to them as well. In manufacturing, if we were going to buy a new piece of equipment, we had to always know what the return on that investment would be. We had to know, and we would work the numbers and figure out the costs and the returns and the savings to determine how long it was going to take us to pay off that piece of equipment. So if we were investing in $1 million piece of equipment, how long was it going to take us to get the payback? How long was it going to take us to make $1 million worth of profits or savings based on that piece of equipment? That would determine if we would purchase it or not. In real estate, they say, and it's so true, you make your money when you buy. You have to buy right in real estate or you're going to lose your butt. And we always made our money when we bought. We always knew all of our numbers and what was going to happen with every single deal before we ever made a real estate transaction. You should do that with anything that you invest in for your business. The other thing is we have to remember that when we're growing a business and supersizing our business, because that's what I help people do, it's all about getting leverage on ourselves, getting leverage on our beliefs, getting leverage on our resources, getting leverage on the processes and procedures and systems that we put in place that we can use to catapult us to success much faster and easier than we ever would trying to figure it out on our own. I spent 3 years figuring out how to supersize my very first business. And that was after I'd worked in corporate America for over a quarter century, helping some of the biggest companies in the world to supersize their businesses and to shore up their systems and processes and procedures and automation and outsourcing and delegation and all of the things that you need to do to grow and supersize your business. So having your ducks in a row, having things lined up before you go is a great strategy, a great way for making sure that you get back your investment quickly and easily whenever you do any kind of a training or coaching or any program that you're investing in yourself or your business. Another thing about investing, I like to remind people that it's not just a cost of something. If we're learning something, when I went to become a certified partner for ClickFunnels is a software tool that I love. I admit it. I totally love it. And when I first heard of it, I knew, being me, being older, being not very technologically savvy when it comes to online and marketing and computer stuff, computer technology. I'm an engineer, but I'm not very technical, if that makes sense. I'm not very computer technical. So I knew that I needed to take that training program, the certified partner program, which cost $10,000 initially. That was the initial investment, and much, much more, of course. But that was the initial investment to get the training that I knew I needed if I was going to make that software tool work for me. Now, when I decided that I was going to do that, I decided very quickly because I knew that it was the right move for me. And I was investing in myself. Whenever we're investing in our training or personal development or something that's going to help our businesses to grow, it's an investment. It is not an expense. It is an expense. It's a short-term expense, but it's also an investment because if we know that when we do it, it's going to pay us back many times over what we invested in it initially. So it's an asset that we're investing in, not a liability. A liability is my car payment. A liability is my house payment. If my house was income generating property, then it wouldn't be a liability. It would be an asset. But my home, my car, my everything that I pay for month to month, they're all liabilities, right? So the trick is, and the key to this is to remember that when I am taking a program or a coaching program, or I'm learning a course, or I'm becoming certified as a certified partner for ClickFunnels, for example, that's an investment because I know that and knew from day one that that investment in my time, my money, my energy, and my learning, I knew that was going to pay me back at least tenfold, probably 100-fold by the time I'm done, if not more, because I spent the time and the energy investing in myself and investing in that learning and that knowledge. And we have to remember that a lot of the things that we're doing for our business, we have to ask ourselves, am I investing in a liability or okay, am I expensing and blowing my money on a liability, or am I investing in a longer term asset? If I buy a piece of equipment for my manufacturing business, I am investing in that piece of equipment because it's going to pay me back more than I ever pay for it, more than I ever have to expense for it. And I'm not talking accounting expenses or tax liability expenses. I'm talking, does it become an income generating asset or does it become a liability, something that I just pay for and expense each month? Think of your utilities. Our utilities are a liability. Well, they're not really a liability, they're an expense because they're something we pay for monthly. A liability, like I said, is our house, it's our car, it's things we spend our money on or that we pay for over and over again that we don't get an equal or greater amount of income, we're talking about here, out of them. So what are some other ways that you could afford to do things like investing in your business and investing in yourself? How about increasing sales? Yesterday, I did a Facebook Live with three or four really quick ways that you can increase your sales with just a little bit of effort. I mean, a little bit of effort. And I actually taught one of my coaching students one of those last night, and he went ahead and applied it and already got a new client. So that was pretty awesome. Disposable income. All of us have disposable income, right? In our businesses, we have cash flow. At least if you're listening to me and you're looking and thinking about improving your business in some way, shape, or form, I would imagine that you have cash flow. You might have a problem or a bottleneck or something going on in your business, which is why you're looking for some solutions. But cash flow to me, it's, we have money coming in and money going out. We have, depending on the type of business you have, you may have inventory, you may have holding costs, you may have manufacturing costs, you may have other carrying costs. In addition to, if you're a brick and mortar business, you probably have facility costs and employee costs and labor and things. Whatever your expenses are, whatever our expenses are, we have money coming in every month to pay those. We pay those every month, and whatever's left over, that's our profit. But every month we continue to make more sales and we continue to have cash flowing in and out of our companies and our departments. And again, if you don't have money coming into your business to the extent that you can invest in something to grow and improve your business, then you need to be solving that problem first. If you don't have enough customers and enough sales, you need to figure out and solve that problem first before you ever think of investing in some kind of coaching or some kind of a course or program to do anything in your business, any detailed thing in your business. Step one, you have to have something to sell, right? Or you have to have a group of people to sell to, find out what they want, and then sell them what they want. But you got to have a system or something that you're going to sell, a service or a product that you're going to provide to people, and a group of people you're going to provide it to. If you don't have that in place, there's no sense taking a bunch of courses, learning a bunch of things, and trying to, just continue getting in this learning loop. So often business owners get in this shiny object syndrome. And I don't really like that terminology, but it's so true. There's so many things vying for our attention nowadays that it's really easy to get distracted. I even find myself having to pull back and say, yeah, no, I don't need to learn that. I just need to find somebody that does know how to do that and then add them to my team. And they can handle chatbots. They can handle, designing and branding and things for me, because that's not my area of expertise. That's not what I rock at. That's not what my genius zone is. I wouldn't even like doing that, much less love doing it. It's like if somebody told me I had to do accounting all day long, I would go insane. So we want to look at our cash flow, and only when we have cash flow that makes sense, or we have to go out and get more business to increase our cash flow so that we can do some of these things we want to do. But if you're having trouble paying your utilities every month, or even making your own personal expenses and rent, you shouldn't be out buying a bunch of courses, buying a bunch of programs, or entering any coaching programs, or doing any of that. You need to take care of your basic living expenses first. Then you need to take care of your basic business expenses. And then you can look at what should I invest in to supersize and grow my business? What should I invest in next? And it's always, what is the next most important thing that I need to do to move my business ahead? There's so many ways that you can find to afford things or to get the things that you want and need for your business, the investments that you need to make. You can form partnerships or joint ventures with people. You can barter, and get them to foot part of the bill. You can barter whatever it is that you're good at or whatever your business does with another business that needs and wants your products or services. And that's a way you can increase your ability to invest in different programs and things that you want to take advantage of. You probably or may have, I used to find in my businesses that over time we would have excess inventory of some things, and they would just be kind of sitting dormant because we wouldn't have done anything with them. I mean, even if you do inventory, it depends on the business, but sometimes you just find that you have a stockpile of stuff that you forgot that you had. Well, one of the quickest, easiest ways to get an infusion of cash into your business so that you can use it to invest in assets is by doing some kind of a special or sale or getting rid of that excess inventory. And there's all different kinds of ways that you can do that. You could run a special or a promotion to increase sales. I didn't even talk about that kind of a way of getting the funds yesterday. There's always business credit. And again, if you don't have access to funds at all or business credit, like if you don't have a business credit card, then you shouldn't be investing in advanced trainings or coachings or courses because you're not ready for them yet. You have to get the basics and the foundation of your business set before you really strike out and try to do some of these strategies that, the coaches out there are a dime a dozen trying to teach you how to do these things and invest in their high ticket coaching program when you don't even have the basics covered yet. You haven't even proven viable business and the ability to deliver on the promises and the products and the things that you're trying to sell people, much less are you ready to scale and grow that business. And I think this all stems from, there's this huge push online. And I've only been a part of the online world for about 1.5 years now. Before then, I always was dealing in corporate America and brick and mortar businesses. And although there's similarities in the different industries and business types, there's also a lot of differences. There's a lot of information on the internet that is very get rich quick and salesy. And frankly, it's a lot of bullshit and lies and smoke and mirrors. And online marketers and salespeople would have you believe that all you need is a sales funnel or a funnel, and that's your business. But that's so ridiculous. Anybody that's like old like me or has been in business for any amount of time, like say even 1 year, knows what poppycock that is. Yeah, you need sales and you need marketing for your business, but they are definitely not your whole business. They are a part of your business. And yes, you can pre-sell things. Look at Elon Musk. You can pre-sell courses. I pre-sell my course right now. I've pre-sold 3 courses before. You can totally do that. And then I actually create and develop the course with my ideal clients. So I ensure that they're getting exactly what they want and I meet all of their needs the best I can. And then once I create it with a group of people, I go ahead and I perfect it and I sell it to more people and more people and more people. It allows me to help more people than I ever could have just doing one-on-one coaching and client work. But my point is, there's so much crap out there in the online world, and there's so much of this misinformation that says, if you build it, they will come in the online world. And anybody that's been in the online world for any amount of time knows what bogus nonsense that is too. If you've watched the online world for a while, you see who has stayed the test of time and who has gone away because they didn't stay current and they didn't stay up to date and they didn't have a real business. They were just selling the smoke and mirrors. And now, I'm not saying marketing and sales is smoke and mirrors, but I am saying that it isn't your whole business. It is one function in a successful supersized business, but it definitely is not the whole business. There isn't a business that I know of, an offline, I call them real businesses, which offends all of my online marketing friends, but there isn't a business that exists in the real world, in the brick and mortar world, that doesn't understand that you have to have sales and marketing. You have to get people coming in the door, but you also have to be able to deliver what you're getting people to come in the door for. If I have a retail store and I sell jeans, I sure better have jeans in my store when people come in. If I'm a restaurant or bar, a marketer and a salesperson can run Facebook ads or solo ads or campaigns, and they can get me 1,000 people into my restaurant. But if I don't have food and I don't have a way to cook and prepare that food and serve it to the customers, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to be out of business. I'm going to be out of business before I start, because I can't deliver on the promises that marketing and sales is making. I learned this in a very hard way working in corporate America. I worked for a company, I'm not going to say who it was a very big company, and sales in that company was considered the gods and the kings of that company. I was a quality vice president there, and I found that within about 3 months of joining the organization, I was spending about 70% of my time traveling to all of our customers and explaining why they weren't getting what sales had sold them. And it was because our salespeople were promising the customers things that we were not technologically capable of actually producing in our manufacturing plant. It was for a manufacturing company. And it was it was probably my least favorite job ever, because I was having to try to go and smooth over relationships that had been destroyed by our sales organizations over promising and not even having a clue what we could or could not deliver. Not a fun spot to be in. Not a fun spot to be in the middle of when you're talking about big international companies, because they don't always play nice. And that taught me very early on that you never promise. You always under promise what you can deliver, and you always deliver, but you have to deliver in all areas of your business. That means as you're growing your business, you need to have more departments than sales and marketing and a funnel. You need to have that, but you also need to have sometimes finance, human resources, safety, manufacturing, production, processes, safe, what are the maintenance, the mechanical department called, IT, all different departments and divisions, all, and shipping and delivery. And yeah, you might outsource some of those functions, but they all have to be planned out in place, and the systems for delivery have to be planned out ahead of time. It isn't just about the marketing and sales. It's kind of on a little side rant, isn't it? I guess that's been on my mind today. So there's all different ways that you could find to pay for or to take advantage of different investments. My favorites are finding a way to increase sales, calling upon customers that I may not have been following up with or paying particularly good attention to, looking to see if I have any excess inventory or things that I can turn into pretty liquid assets that haven't been used or are underutilized, pieces of equipment that we're no longer going to use in our processes, excess inventory in any way, shape, or form. I'll just sell that stuff off. Those are my favorite ways to find and finally kill that I can't afford that. The other thing that I learned early on when I was trying to grow my first business and really supersize the first business on my own after I'd left corporate America, was that if I would first thought, if the first thought in my head was when I heard about something, I can't afford that, I would change it to how can I afford that? And then I would also really analyze and ask myself why I was resisting that, because usually it would turn out that the exact thing I was resisting, the number one thing that I needed to grow my business at the time. So I've gotten a lot smarter, and I would encourage you to really look at what's going on in your business. Is it just a false belief that you're saying I can't afford that? Or is it your real situation right this minute? Keep in mind what your situation is right now isn't what your situation might be tomorrow if you employ some of these strategies and some of these tactics to find ways to make it possible for you to invest in what it is you want to invest in, to move your business that much further ahead, that much more quickly. It's kind of my rant for today, a little bit off topic, but I also want to be able to help people understand that anything you want to do for your business is entirely possible. You just have to think creatively and be resourceful, not focus on, well, what is my resource right now? Say I want to take a $5,000, well, even if say I want to take a $5,000, that's not an investment though. I was going to say vacation, but let's say I want to get a $5,000 course, a coaching program. I want to join a program that's $5,000. And I look at our bank account and I know what I've got for bills for the business, and we don't have $5,000 in the bank. Well, if I want to do that, there's so many different ways I can find to fund that type thing. And I just am only ever limited on my creativity and by my own false beliefs telling me that I can't do it. But if I ask myself, how can I, it just opens up a whole bunch of opportunity. One of my favorite ways that a friend of mine in the online world taught me that he did is when he wanted to attend a training or a seminar or something, he would call up 5 or 6 people that he knew that were in his like kind of network of people in the online world. And he would say, hey, I'm going to take this program. I want to take it. Do you want to go in on it with me? I'll attend. I'll take all the notes. I'll share all the information. And we'll, you guys can get the benefit of the knowledge and the key things from going to that training without having to take the time and energy away from your business to actually attend the training. And he did that for like 6 or 7 different training programs that he was really, really interested in, that he knew he wanted the information to help him grow his online business. So there's always a way if you just get a little creative and believe that you can figure it out. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments box and I will answer them. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and know that there's always a way to get what you want. And the real secret is just ask. If you've got a question about it, if you can't think of an idea, if you're looking at something and you want some advice or something, just hit me up in my PM. Ask. I might have the exact right answer for you, or the thing that you hadn't thought of that you need that says, it's like a light bulb going off. Oh my God, why didn't I think of that? Can't tell you how many people have helped me out that way. I just ask a question and they'd be like, well, have you thought of this? And of course I wouldn't have thought of it. So I was really excited to hear that. That's it. Have a fantastic day. Pajama Grandma out. I'm still looking for a name for the little bear. Just something fun, my pajama bear today that I asked, because I didn't ever name it. Usually I name bears. Pajama Grandma likes bears. She likes supersizing businesses and helping business owners help. I also like bears. Have a great day. Talk soon. Bye.